Alright, we are in our first match. We are on the play. And our hand's a little painful, but it's actually great. So we can use Traverse the Ulvenwald to get a land on turn 1. And it's a little bit of a question if I want to get a forest or a swamp. I guess there's a double black spell. So maybe the swamp's more worth it. One nice thing about playing a rogue deck is our opponent's going to be a little hesitant about what to do. See, we have a lot of double black, so I'll get a swamp. But since we're a rogue deck, like, our opponent's not going to know how to sideboard, and not really know what to expect. Like, if we just show up with an Eldrazi Displacer, our opponent's going to have no idea, if we play it, if that's the only one or not, which is kind of sweet. But this hand is pretty good. So Traverse the Ulvenwald, this deck has 25 lands. In this particular hand, the fact that Traverse gets to be a land is great. Oh, and we get a basic forest now too. So our mana is going to be cruising right along. If we're against black-white control, things I guess could be a little tough, but it looks like we're not. The reason that I say things might be tough against black-white control is just because they're like a similar deck in that they're just like a mid-range creatures and removal deck, but when they're casting things like Secure the Wastes, it's like pretty hard for me to deal with. But when I'm casting things like Sylvan Advocate, it's fairly easy for them to deal with. So my opponent took my Nissa, likely just trying to cut me off of card advantage. It's always possible that we're essentially overcommitting into a Languish here, but we don't have anything else to do, and we want to get our beats on. This is beatdowns with the boss. We're not gonna do this video and then not beat down. So I'm a little confused as to what our opponent is playing. It could be just some sort of mid-range Mardu deck, I guess. It could be like some sort of mono-white Eldrazi deck. I guess it wouldn't be mono-white Eldrazi with the Transgress the Mind, but some sort of white-black Eldrazi deck would be completely reasonable. So our opponent's pretty low. If he has Westfall Abbey, he has to have Secure the Wastes. If our opponent plays Gideon here, we can Grasp in Darkness the token and attack the Gideon with the Sylvan Advocate and the Shambling Vent. So Gideon is not safe on this board. So I'm not sure what our opponent could do that would be particularly profitable. If he just has another removal spell, that would be really good. But if he plays something that we can Grasp in Darkness, that would make me really happy. That would certainly be good for us. Yeah, so this isn't going to go well. It's almost like better for our opponent to just plus him. So this means that a Archangel Avacyn would be a little tough to deal with, but apparently we got that covered now too, though. We could attack him to 6, which would be great, but my experience in mid-range mirrors is you almost never want to go for your opponent's life total unless you know you can kill them. So this cannot go to the face. And the last thing we want is our opponent to stabilize at a low life total with a Gideon in play. So in these mid-range mirrors, you just always want to default to keeping control of the board and attacking your opponent's sources of card advantage. To really know what my opponent's thinking about, he's probably thinking, I wish I was playing a deck made by Reed Duke. And if we draw a land, that's great. Land would be a phenomenal draw for us. Looks like our opponent has another removal spell. There's nothing. I mean, he could like secure the wastes for 3, which would be annoying. But you know, it's kind of like whatever. This is going to be... Ooh, that hurts. These Anguished Unmakings have done a ton of damage to my opponent. If he was still at 10, this would be like completely different game. Now he's cycling his Hallowed Moonlight. Not so good in this matchup. Price you pay for metagaming. Oh-ho! Getting a little bit of that life back. That's good. I get to go bring Sorin into play. And tick up. Attack our opponent's life total. Oh, Woodland Bellower! Kaboom! Alright, on to the sideboarding. I'm sure our opponent did not expect Woodland Bellower there. Okay, so all we saw were some removal spells and Gideon. So what do we want to sideboard here? Seems like Duress will be good. Seems like Ultimate Price is likely to be better than Grasp of Darkness against Avacyn specifically. But like there's a good chance our opponent has like Thought-Knot Seer and stuff like that. It's probably not a Languish matchup. Oh, they probably can bring in Virulent Plague. Dem Protector is probably going to be good. Sea Gate Wreckage is probably going to be good. Probably don't need the Kalitases. Bring in a Sorin and a Thought-Knot. So it's 62 cards though. We don't need the Deathcap Cultivator. 3 Duress might be too many. We could probably take out a land. I don't think this is really a matchup for Eldrazi Displacer. So be nice to make room for these like Ruinous Paths, just so that we're kind of prepared against anything. I guess I would just rather have the Ruinous Path than the instant speed removal. I'm sure my opponent has some number of Avacyn, but probably not that many. think I'm going to be more worried about Gideon's Thought-Knot Seers and Reality Smashers. And I think that's what I want to do. Let's roll. So because I have the Oath of Nissas, I don't want to go too high on the spell count. I did take out, you know, 4 Languish and brought in some other permanents. But even still, like, you can you just always want to be able to hit with your Oath. So you see, because of this Traverse the Ulvenwald, I was able to keep a 1-land hand. That's one of my favorite things about playing with Oath of Nissa and Traverse the Ulvenwald, is it just lets you keep so many more 1-land hands. So my opponent's probably hoping to tag like a like an Sylvan Advocate with those 2 swamps out, but we kind of get to put our opponents in an awkward position because we're pretty creature light, but our opponents kind of need to kill our creatures. We only have a few white spells, but I think I'm going to take this Plains anyway, just so that we can save ourselves some life points. Good old Read the Bones. Great card. I'm actually surprised that Reed doesn't have any Read the Bones in this deck. It's like his marquee card. So I feel like the most likely things our opponent plays like a Kalitas or a Thought-Knot Seer. So we have 2 Anguished Unmaking, so we can just let him do whatever he wants. I feel like the most likely thing is he goes after our Sorin Grim Nemesis. Again, in these mid-range mirrors, you just want to target the sources of card advantage. Yeah, I feel like that's a bad use of resources on our opponent's part. Alright, so I do have Tireless. So I'm trying to think of what 3-mana threats I would want to play. I'm just going to play the Oath first. If I draw like a Sylvan... Ooh, Nissa. Nissa's great. Definitely play Nissa. I could just get another Sorin, but... this way I put my opponent in a position where he would rather probably use a removal spell this turn. And this way I can, if I draw like a 5-mana card, I can curve untapped lands into my Sorin, which would be pretty powerful. If our opponent plays a Gideon, we're just going to Anguish Unmaking it. I need to mess around. Also, there's just no need to attack in this situation. Although, so if we don't attack, all we're playing around is Secure the Waste, because we just Anguish Unmaking an Avacyn. But Gitrog Monster is really sweet. We cannot play it this turn, unfortunately. We'll certainly take the threat. So I think I'm going to pass on the 2 damage this turn. And see what my opponent does. I'm legitimately curious if my opponent has Secure the Wastes here. I mean, do you read the bones and then nothing? It's like pretty suspicious. Okay, so it's just an ultimate press. Probably would have happened whether I attacked or not. Sure. So because my opponent has this Blighted Fen, I think I'm going to cast the Sorin first. I know I already cracked my one Evolving Wilds, but it would be cool if I could sequence the Gitrog Monster with like another Evolving Wilds. Wow, and I drew another. Nice. So even though my opponent's cast 2 Read the Bones, he's also, like, I've 2-for-1 to him twice with a Sorin and a Nissa. So, I feel like that's be good for me. And here, I think it's worth it for me just to use this Sorin to kill the Kalitas. I don't think there's any way that my opponent can pump it instant speed. So. Boom. And I think it's about time to get the Sylvan Advocate. One Sylvan Advocate with 2 creature lands out is quite nice. Blighted Fen on from my opponent's side. I mean, it's an expensive card, but it's kind of a nice one. Oh, he's got Sorin Grim Nemesis for my Sorin Grim Nemesis. It's pretty cool. One thing to note is because of the plus saying lose life, you cannot use that to kill your opponent's Planeswalker, which is pretty relevant. So here, I don't even have to use my Anguished Unmaking. I can actually use my Sylvan Advocate to do some damage. So now I get to basically attack his Sorin for free. So you can see that despite his Read the Bones, I'm, you know, coming out pretty well in terms of the 2-for-1 department. I mean, my opponent's at 9. He's like almost dead. Just gotta worry about casting the Anguished Unmakings. Wow, another one of those? Jeez. So again, though, I'm gonna be able to kill this Sorin for free. I mean, I could use the Ruinous Path on it, but it's like kind of a waste. Can I sequence the Gitrog Monster here? So I've not played on it. 3, 6. If I had another land, oh, it's 5. 3, 4, 5, 2, 3. So I can play the Gitrog Monster, but I really want to play it for some value. So I'm actually not gonna play my Gitrog Monster. Until I get like an Evolving Wilds. It's like too easy for him to 1-for-1 it. Oh, that's annoying. That's actually a good reason for me to play it because of discard. Oh, so Woodland Bellower is absolute gas. I wish we had a land to play with it though. For the like, we could get Tireless Tracker, play a land. 3, 4, 5, 6. It's kind of a bummer that we don't have that. I think it's still just worth playing anyway. If he tries to Blighted Fen something, we can activate the Hissing Quagmire. It's like still a 2-for-1. 6/5 body kills him like really fast, so there's a chance he may actually go after the Woodland Bellower first. There's a good chance that our opponent's hand is just like a bunch of removal spells. So wow, no removal spell end of turn, and no Abzan. So our opponent's hand might actually be kind of weak, or just very expensive. Like he may just, I don't know, have another Sorin in his hand. How many Sorins could he have? Right. That is fine. So I think I just want to Anguished Unmaking the token, and then attack the Gideon to death. Again, this is just like the most economical use of. Oh, there we go. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. That's the good stuff. Oh yeah. Okay, so 2, 3. I do want to have enough mana to activate Hissing Quagmire. In case my opponent decides to try to use the Blighted Fen. So now I have just enough mana for that. And so far, without the presence of yeah, and we're not going to crack our clue here, otherwise our opponent will Blighted Fen. Ooh, this is pretty good. Jesus. And so it goes again. And you can see this, like he's going to kill it now. That's not even going to work. Oh, our opponent has made a horrible mistake. That doesn't work, guy. This is why there's certain things you should just do on your main phase. Now my Tireless Tracker is just not going to die. Man, that worked out really bad for my opponent. I have tapped basically all my black mana though. I already planned to land this turn, so I'm going to save this for next turn. But let's pop the hood and see what's going on. I feel like he may just have 2 lands. Most things that he can cast. Oh, jeez. I guess I'll just take the Ruinous Path Oh, my opponent can't even cast the other Grasp of Darkness. Dude, my opponent just should have killed the Tireless Tracker on his, like, yeah, on his turn. Total punt on my opponent's part. Oh, that is rough. And let's see, black, green. Yeah, so we can even crack this clue for another point of damage. And 3, 4, 4. So our opponent is going to have enough mana to activate Blighted Fen, and then when we activate Hissing Quagmire, kill the Hissing Quagmire with Grasp in Darkness. That's fine. We've already gotten enough out of this Tireless Tracker. And it'll pave the way for our Nissa. So we are in just excellent shape this game. Our opponent thought he was going to pull ahead in the mid-range mirror with Read the Bones and probably Secure the Wastes, but the Secure the Wastes has not shown up, and our permanents were too problematic to deal with. Generated too much value, and we didn't even need Read the Bones. Alright, that's decent. So our opponent has a Grasp of Darkness in hand. That's all he has. Definitely want to do this. There's 100%. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we play a land, I believe that means we're going to be able to Duress and Ruinous Path with Awaken and yeah, we can just do everything. Hashtag winning. Oh yes. And probably just Awaken the Plains. I don't think we have any white spells even in our deck anymore. And we can Awaken the Hissing Quagmire, but it's like it's better to spread out your threats so that they're harder to deal with. Now our opponent can either Blighted Fend, yeah, GG. On to the next one.